Thank you for joining us this morning. Welcome back to Messiah Minutes. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the encouraging words, the likes, the shares. Please continue to watch this and get it out there to other people. Let's go through some announcements real quick. Mondays, I'm just going to run through them like days of the week, what we do here at the church. So Mondays at 6, we have a single ladies Bible study. Tuesdays at 6, we have a men's Bible study. Then every other week, there's a women's Bible study. So not tonight, but next week, the women will meet here. And then Life Recovery Group is on Tuesdays at 6:30. Now, Wednesdays, we have Next Gen Youth Gathering, which I lead. I'm asking for volunteers to sign up, not just to sign up and bring meals, which you can do online, but to sign up to just come and hang out with us. Just volunteer to come and spend time with the kids, with the youth, and let them know, you know what, there's people in our church and our church body that care about you and are willing to sacrifice some of our time to sit here with you and just spend an hour, 2 hours with them every Wednesday night. So I'm asking you guys to do that. We also have on Wednesdays our adult midweek service. That's at 6:30. And tomorrow, I believe the message is being brought by our worship director, Abigail Cook. So please come for that. And then Sunday morning, we have Bible study, or we have Sunday school Bible studies. We have service at 10:30. We have kids services. We have all kinds of things on Sundays. So we ask you to be a part of that too. And then events coming up. We got Trunk or Treat. That's the big one. That's Wednesday, October 29th, next Wednesday from 5 to 7. We still need volunteers. We still need candy. We still have a sign-up sheet if you want to participate and bring a trunk, set up your trunk and give out some candy. But we need those things. We want to do it for our community. We want to be the hands and feet and be out there and just loving on people and letting them know that we're here for them. So please, if you can participate in that, then do that. And we have Daylight Savings coming back. Coming up it's a fallback on Sunday, November 2nd. Also on November 2nd, we have Baptism Sunday. So I know we have a few people, some kids that are getting baptized. If that's something that you're ready to do, please get a hold of the church to just kind of publicly declare your faith, and you want to lay that down and show people and invite them into that relationship, then do it. If you're called to do that, then feel free to do it. Please give us a call. We'd love to baptize you and work with you through that. And then we also have the shoebox. The Samaritan's Purse shoeboxes are due Sunday, November 16th. So you can pick those up still here at the church, but please turn them back in filled by November 16th. All right. So last week, we talked about how we kind of demolish strongholds by not using the weapons of this world, but solely relying on God's power. We discussed how the things that we expose ourselves to, what we allow in, kind of shapes our thoughts, and our thoughts will shape our lives. So we talked about how that's true. If we put trash in, trash is what's coming out. But it's also true in the reverse. And it's a fact that if we put good things in, good things are what's going to come out. So what we watch and what we listen, if we watch uplifting things, listen to uplifting music that build life and bring positivity into our lives instead of kind of contributing to this negative, sinful, false narrative that the world kind of paints in our minds. If we put something positive in, it changes what comes out. So I kind of asked you to pay attention to that over the last couple of weeks, to pay attention, be more intentional about what you're letting in, and be more intentional with your gates, to actually guard your gates as your ear gate and your eye gate, and just kind of guard them. And then I asked you, what's growing in your mind? What's growing in the garden in your mind? Are you planting seeds of positivity? Are you planting seeds that you can nurture, that are bringing life to you and to your family and to your friends? Or are you putting other things in there? Just think about that. So I want to continue talking about how we hold our thoughts captive. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." So the first step, I think, in our approach to holding our thoughts captive is to reflect and inspect. Before we just charge into our minds with no direction, we need to know what's going on in there. Remember, Paul is telling us to hold our thoughts captive. Where do we normally see those terms being used? If you think about that, when we think of the word captive, it's usually used in like a military scenario. So Paul is telling us that our minds are a battlefield, right? And the thoughts that go up against God's truth, those are our enemy. So our job is to capture them and hold them accountable to God's word and his plan and his truth. So if you certainly wouldn't just charge into a battle without having a plan or some idea of the lay of the land, That's the same thing with your mind. You can't just go in there with have no plan. What are some of your thought patterns? We've talked about these. What are some of the things you think about over and over again? What are things you've been writing, hopefully, in your journal? Maybe you struggle with anxiety. Maybe you're one that's continually kind of contemplating what ifs and like worst case scenarios. So the first step into holding those thoughts captive is to be aware of them, to identify those thoughts. We're not judging those thoughts right now. We're not trying to change them, but we are acknowledging that they're there, and we're writing them down, and we're understanding, hey, that's a part of the way I think. And then the next thing, if you're going into battle, you have a strategy. You don't just run in there. You have a strategy. You have identified a target. You're not just going in there without a plan and trying to take out everything that you see that's in enemy territory. You can't just take everything captive. That won't work. It's overwhelming, it's ineffective, and it's also impossible. So you have to start with an objective, a target thought. Start with a thought. Find one that opposes God's truth and make that your primary target. If it's not the only target, it's only the first target. That's why the journaling is important. You notice your patterns and you can kind of use them to start to develop a strategy. So if you are a what-ifs person, we've kind of already kind of talked about that, right? If you are a what-ifs person, then start with those thoughts. Start with those thoughts first. I want you to think about what would happen if you found a target and you just zeroed in straight on it. You went into the battlefield and you just ran straight at that target. What is the enemy going to do? First off, you immediately alerted them that this is what I'm going after, and they're going to build even more strongholds around it, right? They're going to defend that target with everything that they have, right? So we have to be smart. And I understand that this is in our minds, but we still have to have a strategy. If you just immediately start thinking about that thought, then that's the one you want to hold captive, then you're going to psych yourself out about it. If you don't believe me, I want you to try this, because this is where we usually fail. So whatever you do right now, I don't want you to think about a clown surfing. Don't think about it at all. Just don't do it. There's no way that a clown would be surfing and doing flips on a surfboard, maybe upside down, riding this giant wave, right? That's ridiculous. So don't even think about it. You see, the problem is the more you tell yourself not to think about something, the more you're going to think about that very thing. We can't hold our thoughts captive that way. It doesn't work. We have to have a different strategy. We have to do some recon, right? We have to quietly observe this thought without noticeably engaging it right away. Instead of just attacking it head on and calling that thought stupid and saying, hey, you don't belong here, you have to be more strategic. Notice the anxious thought and be stealthy. Start asking that thought some questions like, where is this thought coming from? How long has this thought been there? How does this thought make me feel? And where and when does this thought tend to show up in my life? Take notes. Start to develop a strategy, a game plan to kind of hold your thoughts captive and take back the territory in your mind. The enemy has had his time in there, and enough is enough. It's time to push back. You're not created to live in this distress, this turmoil, this fear, this anxiety. You were made in the image of God. And you were created for so much more. So next week, we're going to talk about being precise and how we equip ourselves for the attack on those thoughts. But for this week, I want you to keep using your journals and do some reconnaissance. Get in there. Do some thinking. Work on some strategies for certain thoughts that you've been holding, that have been holding you captive instead of the other way around. And while you're having that quiet time with the Lord and reading your word, which I'm encouraging you and have been encouraging you to do daily, I want you to open up your Bible and I want you to meditate on Romans chapter 8. The whole thing. But I really want you to check out verses 5 and 6 in particular and decide what you want for your life. I know what I want for mine, and I want that for all of you as well. So I'm asking you to do that this week. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. We'll see you next week. And please come out and join in any of the things we have going on in the church. Thank you.